Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play ChäoS. Now, what would have happened if we didn't take any of these options? Would something have happened? Who knows? So this is what happened if you skipped it? Whose eyes are those eyes? Is what the crowd is shouting. It was almost as if they were cheering at a soccer or volleyball game. The juvies gathered in a pedestrian scramble began yelling simultaneously. Had they planned it in advance, or was Shogun controlling their minds? They raised their hands and shouted the same words, not missing the beat. These guys, they're insane. I shuddered. The cheer continued. I could barely hear the high-pitched voices of delinquent bitches weaving through the chanting. If I listened closely, they were all just mocking me. They were just amusing themselves, guffawing. They were fine with anything, as long as they could have fun. It was a festival with me as the living sacrifice. They just wanted to join in on the festivities and make noisy fools of themselves. Every single one of them was the worst kind of juvie. No one would dream of helping me. Everyone was hoping I would die here. Their mob mentality was going to murder me. Not with hatred or rage, but with glee. Terrified, so scared I might piss myself. It was the first time it felt death close at hand. My consciousness went faint, like a child persisting in saying no. I screamed and cried. The expectation that my actions will get Shogun to let up on me. The expectation that my actions will shake people to sympathize with me and come to help me. The expectation that if I did so, maybe the police would realize I wasn't a criminal, but simply a nasty otaku, and come to save me. The expectation that if I did so, maybe my parents sitting at home and watching TV would come out and offer themselves up in exchange for me. The expectation that if I did so, maybe Ruby would come, riding in on her white horse to rescue me. The expectation that if I opened my eyes with a gasp, I discovered that in truth this was all a dream. Brimming with those varied hopes, I shook my head desperately and recited my wish. I don't want to die, but... His voice hadn't changed a bit from before. When he said that, I lost the ability to retreat or turn around. Hakuna Matata. Even if you say that. His voice was very cool. and yet it gave off a forcefulness that provided me with no room to back down.
君にここでしてもらうことは一つだけ。
飛び降りるなんてできない。死んじゃう。
誰もそんなことは言っていないよ。
That's not it? Then I don't have to die?
君にはそこから一歩も動かずに理想度を見つけてもらう。
Find my D sword? How? Until now I'd searched for it everywhere, and there'd been practically no sign of me finding it. How ridiculous, asking me to find it out of the blue in a place like this.
理想度はいわば妄想の剣。それだけ言えばわかるだろ。
I don't understand.
騙されちゃダメだよ、タッキー。理想度なんて実在しないって。妄想が実際にあるわけないっしょ。
見つかるわけないよ。
君はこれまでに剣を持った人間と何度か接触した。そうだね。その人物から聞いているはず。理想度をどうやって手に入れたのか。よく思い出して。
この剣は命運を握る。この剣は嘆きを収束させたもの。この剣は超越した場所に干渉するためのもの。異空間のようなもの。同一次元上にあるもう一つの可能性、あるいは妄想。言い方にあまり意味はないが、唯一確かにこの剣もその領域に存在しているということ。いつの間にかそこにあった。気づかなかったわ、最初は。でもちょっとだけ見方を変えたら分かった。もしかしたら匠にはもう見えているのかも。見ているだけ。
世界を疑い、仕組みを知る。お前の見ている景色は本物か。妄想を現実にすることが可能だ。本当じゃないものが景色に紛れ込む。つまりエラーを現実として認識させる。
そうだよ。すでに多くのヒントが提示されているよね。君にはもう見えているはず。君の眼下に広がっているその景色の中に。
In other words, Shogun was hiding my D sword somewhere in the landscape I could see from here. He wanted me to find it.
見つけたら許してくれるの？
見つけるだけじゃクエストクリアにはならない。実際に剣を手に入れるんだ。その場から一歩も動いちゃならないっていうルールを破らないようにしてね。
Of course I couldn't do that. If I couldn't move from here, how was I supposed to get the sword? What the hell was Shogun trying to make me do?
だからあいつは無理難題を突きつけておいて、結局タッキーを殺したいだけなんだって。
それができないならナナミちゃんの命はないよ。
逃げようタッキー。お家に帰ろう。
But if I take even one step back from here, he'll kill Nanami.
だからナナミんちはどうせ助からないってば。
He'd said I could save her.
あいつの言葉を信じるの？嘘ついてるかもしれないよ。
I strained my eyes. Due to the radiant light from below, it was hard to see what lay far away. I looked around as much as I could. That said, I didn't have a particularly broad view from here. Most of it was hidden by buildings. Over here. I had to find it. My sword.
無理だよ。
I ruminated over Ayase and Senna's words one more time. How was I supposed to pull this off?
でもちょっとだけ見方を変えたら分かった。
本当じゃないものが景色に紛れ込む。
Right then for some reason I remembered the pattern on the ceiling of my roof. Since long ago, I'd had a vague thought as I went to sleep. The wood grain of the ceiling looked kind of like a person's face. Once I started looking at it like that, I stopped being able to see it as anything other than a face.
はいはい、目の錯覚、目の錯覚。そんな木目、どこにでもいっぱいあるよ。
That's true. It's hardly the same thing as the patterns in a piece of wood.
切り取るんだ。
Shogun murmured in his usual composed tone.
剣が見えたなら、そこから切り取る。君にはそれができる。
はーい、意味不明。そいつは適当言ってるだけだよ。
妄想は現実にすることが可能だ。
Like that flower bed? Like the Divide Iosis? But the last time I tried to make my fake D sword materialize as a real thing, nothing had happened. I turned my face from side to side once more. I tried surveying on the tableau I could see from here. I saw a sword. Yes, I did. I distinctly saw a sword. Yeah, I can see a sword. If I could move from here, I could go take it. I don't think so. You can see that sword from places other than here. No. This is all preset, by the way. I have to do this to obtain the ending. Well, not really. I could say no, but this gives me the most. It's not actually a sword. Yes. I saw it. In the vague, blurring night scenery. In the midst of the landscape, whose light was bent by welling tears, I found a place that looked just like a sword. It was as Ayase had said. I hadn't noticed it at first, but once I changed my perspective a tiny bit, at some point, it was there. I was fine with anything, even if it had only happened to appear like that by coincidence. The more I thought of it as a sword, the denser it got. At last becoming veiled by a sense of reality and gaining a stronger and stronger presence in the scenery. I could already make out its outlines clearly.
見つけたんだね。
Shogun was quick to address me, as if he'd noticed me catching my breath.
では手を伸ばしてその剣を切り取ってほしい。深く考えなくていいんだ。君にならできるよ。
できるわけないじゃん。ダメ、タッキー。そんなことしたら下に落ちちゃう。落ちたら死んじゃうよ。
I looked down. Innumerable people. No emergency medical brigade had arrived yet. It was the same as this afternoon. The response times were too slow, which was only to be expected. That just showed how intense the casualties from the earthquake at noon had been.
切り取るなんてできないよ。
固定観念にとらわれたらダメだ。最初からできるわけがないと思っていたら何もできない。常識を捨て去ってあるがままを見ればいいんだ。君には力がある。世界はその力に応えてくれる。あの花壇みたいにね。
Could I really do it? Would that sword become mine merely by stretching out my hand? If it were true, there'd be nothing wrong with giving it a try. I also had said my D-sword would bring me salvation. Maybe those words had implicitly been referring to this very moment. I would obtain my sword and clear the quest, and Nanami would come home unharmed, and Shogun would stop interfering with me. I'd go back to the peaceful lifestyle I'd led up until now.
そんなに都合よくいくと思う？将軍があっさりタッキーを見逃すって？だって相手は10人も殺した連続殺人鬼なんだよ。
Even Shogun wouldn't try to make me do the impossible. I could do it. He was telling me to do it because I could.
あいつはタッキーを殺したいだけ。忘れたの？集団ダイブの映像。将軍は5人の男女を1回も触れることなく転落死させたんだよ。
Too bad for Seraton, but I'd already extended my hands as though seeking deliverance. The herd below began rumbling. The thousands of people stuffed into the plaza paid close heed to my every gesture. For that matter, the broadcast meant tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people throughout all of Japan were watching me. Nausea surged within me. My heart seemed about to crumble under the pressure of being watched by such a vast number of people. No, I mustn't be conscious of it. If I became too conscious of it, nervousness would have kept me from moving so much as a finger. Now I had to focus on the sword. Being careful of my feet, I stood there and stretched out a hand. Fixing my aim on the sword in my sight, I tried to grasp it by the instinct alone. But I felt nothing. The wind mercilessly rushed at me. Moreover, the direction of the wind was indeterminate. As soon as I thought it was coming from in front of me, the next instant it would push me from the side. I was gripping the acrylic plate to hold myself up, but it was slippery, so the only thing that really helped were my nerves. If I became even a little distracted, I'd get thrown off the edge. Even so, I frantically attempted to seize the sword, but no matter how many times I tried, I didn't succeed.
できるわけないよ。だってあれは本当の剣じゃないんだよ。
Tears poured out of me again. My field of sight went misty, and the sword-like object I had seen only faintly began to disintegrate. I hastily wiped my tears. If I lost sight of it once, I had a feeling I'd never find it again.
それならもっと手を伸ばせばいい。
Shit! You have no idea what this is like for me. I bit my lip, holding back my tears, and leaned out further than ever before, my hand swimming through the empty air. But I couldn't grab onto the sword after all.
もっと
If I fell from here. I looked down again. I was higher up than I imagined. On the brink of vertigo, I yanked myself back and clung to the wall of acrylic.
どうしたの？剣を早く手に入れて。でないといつまで経ってもナナミちゃんは戻ってこないの。
I shouldn't have looked down. My shaking wouldn't stop. My trembling made my feet seem about to slip. I was completely coward.
できないよ。許して。
君はあまり僕を舐めない方がいい。君のわがままに付き合うつもりはないんだ。理想度を手に入れる。それができないなら、君の妹は死ぬ。君も死ねばいい。ただそれだけ。
No, I don't want to die.
死にたくない。
I unwillingly thrust my body through the hole again and reached out my hand. I could still see the sword there. I tried to do it over and over, but it was still no good. I definitely seemed like I couldn't reach it, but no matter what, I never quite got there. I leaned out further still. I stretched my hand toward the sword as if I were reaching with my whole body. I strained the tips of my fingers to their limit, and slowly closed my hand. As before, I felt nothing.
手が届かないよ。
This was impossible. Seraton had been right. There wasn't any way I could grab a half-transparent sword like that in the first place. The law of perspective made it seem like it was ordinary sized, but thinking about it more calmly, it had to be unbelievably gigantic. It wasn't the size of something a person could hold.
その剣をつかめばクエストクリアなんだよ。
でもちゃん届かない。
ナナミちゃんを助けなくていいの？
助けて。もう許して。死にたくないんだよ。
昼間のことを思い出すんだ。君の力があればそこから落ちたとしてもまた花壇を出現させればいい。君は落ちても死なない。
自信ある？
I heard Seraton's teasing whisper by my ear. Confident?
タッキーがここから落ちて下の地面に激突するまでほんの3秒もないよ。その間に自分の意志でまた花壇を出現させる。タッキーがそんなすごいことできる？今まで一度も自分で意識してその力とかってのを使ったことないっしょ？
Right. For starters, even if I had been able to use it before, I didn't know how.
ねえ、逃げよう。タッキーはよくやったよ。でもこれ以上は無理。死にたくないっしょ？
But Nanami,
タッキーはよくやったよ。妹を亡くした悲劇の兄として今後もやっていけるって。
a tragic brother.
PTSD って言えば何もかも許されるっしょ。正々堂々と引きこもれるんだよ。あ、もしかしたらさ、どっかの偽善者が同情してタッキーを養ってくれるかもしんないね。ブログに適当なこと書けば出版社に目をつけられてベストセラーになっちゃうかも。日本中が泣いたとか白々しいキャッチコピーがつけられて、それに載せられたバカでゆとりな人たちからの感動した共感したっていう絶賛の嵐。それで印税もガッポガッポ。半年後に映画が決定っしょ。すごいよ。ナナミッチをここで見殺しにするだけでタッキーにはバラ色の人生が待ってるんさ。さあどっちを選ぶ？タッキーがここで頑張ってでも死んで全てが無になるか、バラ色の人生か。
死にたくない。痛いのは嫌だ。死ぬのは嫌だ。消えるのは嫌だ。ナナミがどうなろうと僕は痛くも痒くもない。
I muttered, as though to persuade myself. The one on the right wasn't Shogun, it was Seraton.
あの剣に見えるだけで剣じゃない。ただの光の反射とか目の錯覚だ。
そうだよ。さあ帰ろう。帰ったらさ、私のパンツ見ながらいっぱいオナニーしていいから。
僕帰る。帰ってセーラタンでハーハーするよ。
嬉しいな。タッキーのためにエッチなポーズたくさんしてあげるね。
I slowly pulled back my outstretched hand. That alone made me feel very much at peace. I took Serotan out of my breast pocket and contemplated her smile. As long as I had Serotan's forgiveness, I didn't need anything else. I sniffled up the stuff running from my nose. I veered around and walked up to Shogun.
誰が動いていいと許可した？クエストはまだクリアしていないぞ。
僕は勇者なんかじゃない。妹一人救えないようなヘタレな妹だよ。僕に期待しないで。僕を見ないで。僕をそっとしておいて。
ではナナミちゃんは殺すことにするよ。
どうせもう死んでる。
She was already dead. Shogun had brutally murdered her. Tomorrow they'd report about it all over the place as the 6th new gen case. It saddened me, but I couldn't do anything about it. The sound of water dripping. It wasn't a rivulet of water. Nanami's blood. Pure red blood, trickling from the stump of her wrist.
なんで助けてくれなかったの？鬼って最低。
I screamed at the top of my lungs. The world went crimson. Fury and grief and shame ground my thoughts to pulp. I charged blindly at Shogun. I grabbed at him, sitting still in the shadows. But there was less of a physical response than I expected. I fell headlong together with the wheelchair. I must have hit my knee. Pain shot through it. Grimacing, I looked about in confusion for the person who'd been sitting in the wheelchair. A head had tumbled down by my feet. I gingerly reached for it. It was very hard. Rather than a once living head, it was clearly something akin to a helmet. A pitch black helmet.
Das Spider.
And this is the route you're supposed to take if you want the bad ending. I saw a sword. Nope. I saw a sword-esque object. Nope. Basically, we say 3 times nope and we're dead. I saw it as a hallucination. Nope. Something pushed hard at my back. Without my noticing it, someone had come up close behind me. I hadn't sensed anyone's presence. It wasn't Shogun. I didn't hear the creaking of his wheelchair. Then, who? The nighttime scenery of the station plaza whirled dizzyingly. I fell. I sensed the wind across my whole body. The ground rushed towards me. I could hear screams, no, rather cheers from my surroundings. What was this? Was this the end? Was my life over? No. I don't want this. No, 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 no. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next part. Bye.